See, I'm
Okay, thanks, Carmen. Is the coffee, did you turn on the coffee, or?
Yeah.
You want some coffee?
Today is March 29th, 2019, and we're in San Antonio at the home of Arthur Munoz, a World War II veteran, and we're recording this for the Library of Congress, Veterans Affairs, World War II military history. Art, I'm going to ask you just a few questions on background, and then we'll get into your military career and then how famous you were as a tennis player after that. How's that? Can you just state your name and where you were born?
Arthur Munoz, born in Los Angeles, California in 1924.
And can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Okay, I can gladly say that the only school I've ever graduated was Custer Avenue Elementary School. I was a librarian there for the class because the school didn't have a library. So I used to go to Echo Park Library in Los Angeles. That's where I got hooked on books. And then when I was 9 years old, I sold Collier's and Liberty magazine on Sunset Boulevard. And we left to Los Angeles when I was 10, 11 years old. Came to Corpus Christi, Texas, where I became a Western Union telegram boy. And that got me hooked on Marines because I used to see the Marines at the post office all in their blues, and the Navy guys, I didn't like their uniform, and the Army guys, they never looked sloppy. So I became a Marine when Pearl Harbor happened. I signed up. I was 17. My mother wouldn't sign until I stayed home for Christmas.
Well, it sounds like you weren't afraid of hard work. Tell me about your family, your mother and father, any brothers and sisters?
My father died when I was 6, and my mother remarried the Gamboa family. And it was under Depression, of course. And I have, how many sisters? I have one. There was only one sister, and the others have sisters and brother. Martin is a Gamboa. I never use the term half-brother, but step-brother, whatever you want to call it. And,
I always ask this question because, maybe your great-grandchildren might be interested. Tell me a little bit about what it's like growing up in the Depression in Los Angeles.
What I remember the most is going to downtown Los Angeles. We lived on Budry, which was about, about 2 miles from downtown Los Angeles. And I remember going about once a month with my sister. We had a little flyer wagon, and they would give us government subsidies, food. They didn't have no food stamps then, and nothing like that was known. That's a Roosevelt thing that came later. And we would get lard and peanut butter in a can and stuff like that, and beans and stuff. And going up Sunset Boulevard. We'd go down Sunset Boulevard downtown to the City Hall in downtown Los Angeles. You see it always on police movies and things. Well, earthquake happened in 1932. And they had a big earthquake in Los Angeles and knocked that thing down. The street in front of the house split open. It's very scary. Big earthquake, 1926.
Wow. Now, during the Depression, did your dad have a job? Did your father work?
My father had died, and Gamboa, my stepfather,
Or your stepfather?
would leave on Monday morning. A truck would come pick him up, and he'd come back Friday. The truck was full of guys going to the Angeles National Park. You hear about it every now and then, catching on fire, and cleaning the debris and fire trails and all that.
Was that part of the CCC?
No. It was part of the WPA.
Oh, WPA, yeah. I guess
WPA. When I came to Corpus, I turned 16. I wanted to join the CCs because I had heard that the guys would go, and they told me, well, if you wait till January, we got a group going to Arizona. but it never happened because Pearl Harbor happened Pearl Harbor, December the 7th. So I didn't get to go to the CC. I signed up and everything to go.
Wow.
And I would have gone to Arizona with the CCs if there hadn't been World War II.
Now, this question has to do with your little red flyer wagon. Did you ever go to bed during that period without dinner? Were you ever hungry?
No, never, no. I can never say that I suffered in any way. No.
One of our veterans, his father lost their farm here in Texas. They ended up, his father became a sheriff, and they actually lived in the jail for a while. So the Depression hit different people different ways. So
we rented from the Kaplan family, and the neighborhood was totally Russian Jewish. So my friends and the family that we rented from had two boys my age. So I picked up a lot of Yiddish.
Oh, well, good.
During that period.
How about Russian?
More Yiddish than Russian.
Let's see, so you're 1924, so when the war started, you were just 17, as you
17.
said. Where were you when you heard about Pearl Harbor? And how did you hear about it?
I was home. It was a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I was home. But I already knew about the war in Europe. I'm one of those guys that got hooked on Adolf Hitler way back in the 29 and 30, when everybody thought he was the greatest thing Europe had. You know, a lot of your leaders thought because he was getting Germany back up from his World War I days, and I used to hear him with my stepfather on the shortwave radio. And then they would interpret.
Is that right?
And I was amazed at his the way oratory, the way he did. And so I started buying Life magazine and all that. He kept a scrapbook of everything that was happening in Europe, and I would hear all that about World War II and all that. And then I started. I had a friend who joined the Merchant Marine, and he would come and talk about it. He was on that Murmansk run,
going to Russia,
Northern Atlantic.
Yep.
And 3 times, the guy's name was Mickey Gonzalez. 3 times the ship he was on got torpedoed.
Wow.
And those poor guys never got any recognition till years later. They made him part of the GI Bill. But 3 times he had a ship.
My gosh.
They were sending equipment and all that to England. We were not at war yet.
You made a comment about your neighborhood being a combination of Jewish and Russian. What did your Yiddish or your Jewish friends think about Hitler? Were they aware?
We never talked about it then.
They didn't
There was
talk
nothing.
about it.
There was no conversation. I didn't get hooked on that till I came to Corpus. And the reason it got me hooked was we didn't have a radio in California. We got a radio in Corpus Christi. A true tone radio, big deal with a little green eye on it, and it was shortwave. And Hitler was on shortwave.
Oh.
You couldn't pick it on the regular channels. And ham operators, you could pick up on shortwave. Aircraft conversation, you pick up on shortwave. That wasn't limited. It was a real nice true tone radio. And that's when I started really getting interested. I always liked history. And I started saving all that material.
Wow.
I would buy, the magazine store was right next to the Western Union office. And I always had money because of the tips. I'd give my mother.
Well, you worked a lot, that's why.
I'd give a check to my mother, but I always had tip money. And you could buy magazines for 10 cents, 15 cents. So I would buy a Life magazine. Life magazine always had 3, 4, 5 pages of what's going on in Europe. And I kept all that stuff in a box. And when I came home, I said, "Where's my box of Life magazine?" She threw them away.
Oh no.
She said, "You were at war. I didn't think you want to come home and see more war, so I threw them away."
So all right. So now you're in Corpus, the Houston area, and so you'd be
Western Union delivery boy.
17 years old.
I'm 17.
Had you graduated from high school yet?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just in the 10th grade.
So what did all your classmates, what was the feeling when you
Yeah, I'll
heard
tell you what
about
happened. Monday morning after that, naturally there was no classes. We all were in the school and everybody talking about it.
it? I'll bet.
Within 3 days, guy over here was gone, guy over there was gone, so-and-so was gone, Peter's gone, this guy's gone. They joined, they went, they left.
Wow.
And pretty soon, where's Coach so-and-so? Oh, he's gone. They all were gone. So that's when I said, well, I'm going too. I'm going to join the Marines.
Now, why don't you tell me about what happened when you wanted to enlist? Because you weren't old enough, right? You had to get permission?
My mother had to sign.
Was
And
she?
she did not sign till the last day of 41 rather, 41. And by then I went ahead and I think I enlisted on the 2nd or 3rd of January
1940.
42 and wound up in boot camp in San Diego on the 5th or 6th of January.
So back to California.
Back to San Diego.
Now, I asked this question, but you may have already answered. Because a lot of people, again, young people don't reckon. When you went from Los Angeles to Texas, how did you get here?
Oh, train.
Train. So is that the first time you've ever been on a train?
It's the first time.
Yeah.
First time.
That always amazes a lot of people.
First time on a train. Well, there was no reason for go on a train.
Yeah.
I've been to my mother used to go on the bus to see the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. And there was a trolley or a bus or something. Go to Long Beach on a trolley.
So you went to, did you go to Camp Pendleton or where did you go?
No, there was no Camp
Oh, there was
Pendleton
no
there.
Pendleton. Oh,
No, the Camp Pendleton didn't come till later. There was just Camp Elliott. Camp Elliott was a marine, a small marine base outside of San Diego.
uh-huh. I didn't know
And
that.
after boot camp, a call. This is crazy. After boot camp, a call came out for Marine paratroopers. I've always been afraid of height, so I said, man, I'm going to go up. Maybe I'll get over this height fear. So I went. Several of us went to Camp Elliott, start training for paratroopers. But the Marine Corps, then they cut it out. The Marine Corps never had paratroopers.
Oh,
Never had paratroopers. The guys that, like me, that went to Camp Elliott to begin that, they became the Raiders. Carlson Raiders, Edison Raiders. They went to Lage and Gavutu Islands next to Guadalcanal. A lot of them got killed. A lot of it was bad.
Yeah, the Raiders?
It,
Oh, yes.
It was very bad, the Raiders. And they took me out and made me a telephone lineman,
I heard
combat
yes.
lineman. And I learned how to climb poles and all
So
that
you got
stuff.
up in the air after all. Tell me about boot camp. How was it like? Was it different than what you grew up with, or?
You know what? It was easy. The reason it was easy, because my stepfather had decided to pick up the house and build a cellar. And I was 15 when he started doing that. And whose job was it to get the dirt out from underneath?
It was 15-year-old. Huh?
I was 15-year-old. So for up to the time that I left Corpus Christi, I had enough dirt had taken out to have a ramp. So you'd be surprised. It's a lot of dirt under a house.
Oh yes.
Put dirt on the wheelbarrow. They want to run it up the ramp.
So you were in good shape.
I was in fantastic shape with legs and arms. So pickups and push-ups were a piece of cake.
Now, how about marksmanship? How was that? Did you fire rifles before?
I goofed. I never did. I had trouble. I have a story. Where the DI got on me because I was hitting the other.
Target?
I was closing the wrong eye,
Ah.
and he called me every name in the book.
Do you remember any of those drill instructors?
No, I don't. They were. I remember the DI in camp in San Diego was a Marine that been. He was like 6. To me, he was like 6 feet 8 or 7. To me, probably 6 feet 2 or 3. Already sharp, khaki sharp.
Yeah.
You could cut your hand on his shirt. I had never shaved. The third day of boot camp, he's running up and down looking at everybody, has has his, what do you call that stick that he always carries?
Oh, yeah,
But
the little baton type thing, yeah.
And he did this, and he looked at me, "Did you shave this morning?" I said, "No, sir, I don't shave." What he said to me, that far from my face, I don't want to repeat. And he told the two flunkies to take me to the tent side to shave. When I came back, I should have had a blood transfusion. I mean, I had never used a GI razor that could qualify for a rake.
Yeah.
They didn't have no mirrors. They had given us a piece of metal that you hung on a stick. Boot camp was, guys were coming in by the hundreds into boot camp, and they were putting up tents on the parade ground. I mean, they were coming in by busloads.
My gosh.
And the whole parade ground was guys, platoons, just turning them out, making Marines out of us.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, when I was went in the Air Force, I didn't shave either.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, the razor they gave us was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was rough.
Now, how long was boot camp? Was it
I
Camp
don't
Elliott?
remember. I think it was like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
2 months. It was very fast.
So it was January,
I think it was
February.
2 months, and then we went to San Luis Obispo for
That's- I
the
like that.
rifle pistol training. The range was in San Luis Obispo.
Oh,
And here it is, February, March. San Luis Obispo, if you've been there, is high. All that fog and cold is coming in from the Pacific, and you're freezing and trying to shoot. So I did marksmanship. I wasn't the best, but
now after boot camp and marksmanship, when did they send you to your school?
Okay,
did you go to school as a lineman?
during the camp, right after
Camp Elliott?
Camp Elliott.
Oh,
during
okay.
Camp Elliott. Then
Tell me about that training.
Then we went to I don't know exactly where we went for all the amphibious training. That's something all the Marines go through, amphibious training, because that's what you are.
Yep.
And a lot of that, I'm sure it was off of San Diego, and it might have been Coronado Island for all I know.
Tell me about your lineman training. What kind of training did you do for that?
It was setting up a combat line.
Mm-hmm.
Switchboard to switchboard, company to company. How to use your spikes, how to climb pole,
Yep.
how to
Splice
the
the...
line and the brace, how to put it together. Combat line is very thin. Where then you come back with the regular line that's a little better after you've already
Or after you put the first one.
after you already set up after the landing and all that. The first couple of days, it's combat wire.
Ah.
Because everybody's carrying a phone. It's not like, it sounds old-fashioned, doesn't it?
Well, that's why people don't understand. Well, now they have iPhones and everything else. They don't understand
Yeah.
everything was
And,
hardwired.
and,
Yeah.
I became part of a forward observation team with 2 radio men and a wire man. You needed 2 radio men because the radio took the radio man's full back. You've
How
probably
big it
seen
was,
them,
yeah.
And you had to have a second guy that carried his batteries. The batteries were like bricks,
Yeah.
big, and he carried about 4 batteries besides all your gear.
Now, how long was that training?
That training wasn't. You just picked that up on Guadalcanal.
Oh, you picked that up. Okay, so now you're in the San Diego area. When did you go
From
overseas?
San Diego, we left somewhere in the Pacific. I turned 18 on the way to Samoa. The 5th Marines had gone to New Zealand, and they landed in August on Guadalcanal. I was with the 7th Marine. We went to Samoa, Apia, Samoa,
Oh,
and stayed there a month and less than a month. And then we went the second, I believe it was the first or second week of September, we landed on Guadalcanal. And that's about the middle of September is when the Japs decided they wanted to take Guadalcanal back.
Mhm.
And they started all
that's
that.
when we ran the slot and all that going
Yeah,
on.
that's when it was real bad. You got
I read a lot about
bombing and shelling and all that. And
Now, how did
I
you-
was with Chesty Puller,
Oh,
who is the the guy, I mean, he was the Marine that everybody wanted to be with, and fighting Japanese. I mean, he was rough, tough. And one of the things that a wireman did then, you also learned semaphore,
Oh,
how to communicate. And on one patrol that I was with him, we had been, we were getting hit by mortar fire. And shrapnel hit the radio guy, the radio, not the guy, the radio, and got it out of commission. And there was a Navy boat, Navy ship, going parallel to us as we were going on the land. And the radio man had been in communication with the ship, and then there was no communication. So Chesty Puller tells me to go and get the guy to start shelling ahead of us. So I go, and I'm out there doing the thing, you know, the fire ahead. I could never get anybody.
nobody
I came back and told Chesty Puller, he always had a cigar, so that man was angry. And I have a hunch that whoever was captain of that ship became a sailor.
Now, what rank was Chesty Puller then? What rank was he? Colonel?
Colonel.
Yeah. So, now, when you left San Diego, you went by troop ship?
Oh yeah, yeah.
How long did it take you to go across the Pacific?
You know, I actually don't know. It seemed like we were there for a month on a ship. I don't know. I found it exciting. Here you are, you haven't been anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's been anywhere. And all of a sudden you're out there in the beautiful ocean, the Pacific Ocean. You're seeing all these flying fish.
Did you have to zigzag because of submarines, or was it, were you ever worried about submarines attacking you?
Never thought of that.
Oh.
Now, leaving Samoa, seemed like it took us a long time to Guadalcanal because they were doing a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the word came out, and then during the nights they had a lot of nights where nobody, everything was dark.
All dark out.
No smoking, no nothing, because they had I think the radio had sent submarines, Japanese. They owned the Pacific. The Japanese owned the Pacific till good old Halsey and what's the guy here in Fredericksburg? Nimitz.
Yeah, Nimitz?
To the Coral Sea and all that. They start
taking it back.
They started taking that Pacific back, but they owned that Pacific.
So where was the first time you did an amphibious? Was that Guadalcanal?
Guadalcanal. Oh yeah, that was the first for everybody.
Yep.
From the captain on down to everybody. We were all green.
Now, was the combat pretty heavy when you got there? Or
No.
It was mostly...
No, it didn't get heavy till the Japanese tried to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
Then it got back. But during that period of time before that, I got to see, we were right by the airstrip. I got to see some of those guys that flew those planes, and I said, I don't know how in the world they flew those things, patching them up, and I got to see one crash, I got to see another one take off and crash before it even took off.
Oh, wow. From Guadalcanal Air,
the airstrip. I don't know if you've heard the word Taj Mahal.
Mm-hmm.
They call their. There's a picture, and I have a book, and they have their planes, and their planes were outflown by the Zeros.
Yes.
Because the Zero was a light plane, and these were the Grummons and SPD, the heavy. But if they got on top, bye-bye Zero.
Yep. They would dive down real fast. Yep.
But if the Zero got bye-bye, there's only
now, when
six
you were a
of them.
lineman running wire, were you ever worried about Japanese snipers?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I got. We call there was another guy. We called ourselves sniper bait. Sniper bait.
Sniper bait.
Well, because on one instant there it was already getting close toward evening, and the line had broken between two companies. So it was my job to get out there and find the break and put it together. And I had to climb about 10 feet, 8 or 10 feet. And I'm there putting this thing together, and all of a sudden I hear, and I see the coconut trunk that I'm holding onto splinter.
Wow. Didn't take long, right?
You never saw anybody get. I don't even know if I hooked that up properly or what. But that's why I'm just glad that that Japanese sniper was cross-sighted or something. All I heard was a zing, and then the coconut log, splinter.
Wow.
And I just, so we call ourselves sniper bait.
Now, when you were in Guadalcanal and the other, did you stay as a unit the whole time? Were you the same buddies the whole time?
Well, the fact that I was with the forward observation, I always went with the company. I would come back, if the company was going on a patrol, or like they went to Bloody Ridge is one of the bad battles there, or the Botanica, I would be with the company. Because the company didn't have radio, didn't have all that equipment. So we went. And then when it was over, I'd come back to the company.
Now, because you were so far away and you were in combat a lot, did you ever communicate with your family back in Texas? Write letters? Or?
No, letters, but they were slow coming.
I'll bet.
Slow coming.
Just trying to catch up with you, huh?
We'd get 2, 3, we'd get Christmas candy. And
Now, was it a special kind of letter? Was it,
the
V-mail or whatever?
V-mail came later.
Oh, that was later.
And my mother kept them. My mother kept
did she
them.
really?
And I have them. I think Annette, my daughter, has them where they cut the
censors.
The emails had to be given to the lieutenant.
Yeah.
And it was his job to read them and cut with.
That's the first time I heard about those. Yes.
So I have about 4 of the emails that I kept.
I'm glad you did.
And my daughter has them right now. They're in a box right there.
I think the Nimitz Museum's got a couple of those, because that's kind of interesting. I didn't know about that. I thought it was just a regular letter until I heard about the V-mail.
It was V-mail,
Yep.
and it was free.
Yep.
We didn't have to put a stamp. Well, no stamp anywhere. Where the heck is the post office?
Now, when you weren't running wires or being shot at by snipers, what did you do for recreation?
You know, that never came to mind.
Never had time off?
Well, you know, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I don't recall any kind of recreation.
You're always in combat during that
Well,
time.
no.
But I meant,
You're getting ready.
patrol,
getting forward, going. There was no time. I don't know. On Guadalcanal here, you probably have read from other stuff. The first couple months since the Japanese owned the Pacific, we weren't getting any rations. Things got pretty bad.
Yes.
Very bad.
Yeah, when the Japanese started running down the slot.
I remember sifting Japanese rice that had been left full of weevils, getting the weevils out. And I remember our sergeant going to see if he could find something to eat somewhere, and he came back with a big turtle. Yeah. So that was my first taste of turtle meat and turtle soup.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. And they told us to just eat 1 sea ration can a day because we weren't getting anything.
I've heard that.
The Japanese weren't allowing any ammo was low, and on one of those when the Japanese decided to start coming in, it was the first time that the sergeant passed along. Everybody put your bayonets on. It had never happened in any of the other battles or anything. That's how bad it got. Ammo was coming low, so you might have to use it.
Now, what were you armed with? M1, or did you have a carbine?
No. The World War I, 03.
The Springfield.
Good little weapon.
My dad loved that rifle.
Good weapon. When the M1 came in, it would jam on the sand. Then the carbine M1 came. Beautiful weapon. Smaller, easier to carry, and blah, 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 blah. But when the first M1 started coming, a lot of us wanted to go back to the 03 because all you did was you take that bowl out, shake it.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't learn our lesson because when the M16 was introduced in Vietnam, we had the same problem when first it was introduced. It just wasn't cleaned. You had to clean them constantly.
Yeah, you can't do that in a scrimmage. I call it scrimmage. People call it a battle or something.
We call it war. So tell me about, so you were at Guadalcanal, you were at, where else? You were at...
Well, I was there up to, I left in January of 43. to Australia.
Oh, to Australia.
Yeah, and sicker than hell from malaria, and stayed in Melbourne 9 months, in and out of hospitals with malaria. I've told them. I came to in a Catholic hospital with two Sisters of Charity over me. I was in the bathtub, totally nude, with ice up to here.
My gosh.
And one of them was holding my wrist, and the other had a thermometer in my mouth.
Wow.
That's how bad. I don't remember getting to the hospital. I don't remember having them take my clothes off.
Yeah.
I was totally nude.
Did you go back into combat after that?
Oh yeah, Cape Gloucester came next.
Okay,
New Guinea,
Gloucester,
went
yeah.
to New Guinea, then to Cape Gloucester.
And then Peleliu, you were at,
And then Peleliu.
yeah. We have a couple of Marines that I've interviewed that were at Peleliu. And,
I'd like to meet those because I've told them Peleliu was a total blank for me.
oh, is that right?
I
There's
mean,
one
I
Marine.
remember getting the amphibious vehicle I was on, getting blown off. I remember two of us being in the water. I remember hitting the beach. I still had all my stuff, water up to here sometimes, because it got happened way out.
Yeah.
And I remember my mind, I can see me lying on the ground and a piece of shrapnel tore my backpack off. Just zoom. And then I know I must have done what I had to do. From then on, everything's
Blank.
blank.
I'll try to get, his man's name is McWilliams, and it goes by Mac.
I'd like to talk
He
to
lives in
somebody.
Bernie, and he's a really, really good guy. I'll try to get the emails or back
And
and
he'll
forth.
probably tell you, it was worse than Iwo Jima.
But he was in most of the battles you were in.
Probably, yeah.
He said Peleliu was much worse than all the other ones.
It was, they really had that thing fortified.
Yeah.
I mean, all that shelling and bombing and all didn't do much of anything.
That's interesting. I'll hook you up.
And there was debris, there was anthrax blown out of the water. It was,
Now, because your backpack was blown off, you never got a Purple Heart though. You weren't wounded, or
no,
No.
no, I wasn't wounded.
That's
No,
interesting.
No. I just heard it fly off, boom. You know, but that's just something that, it's just a second, you don't think about it anymore. You just get the hell out of the beach.
So when did you finally get out of combat? You were in 3 major invasions. So when did you stop?
Well, that was the
combat?
last. After
Yeah,
that,
that was the last.
if you had 30 months overseas, then you came home.
By enough points.
And at points, I believe it was almost 3 years. It's almost 3 years.
So
See, I went over there. I went overseas in May. I came back in 3 years later, almost about 3 weeks.
44 or 45?
40.
Yeah. You went over in 42, right?
After Peleliu.
Yeah.
I don't remember where we went. I don't remember going back on the ship
Wow.
and where I went, and I remember coming
And you took a troop ship back again.
to San Diego
Yeah. When were you discharged?
in 46, April of 46.
Oh, 46.
I was thinking of staying over. I kind of liked it.
I know that feeling.
And there was 2 stories there. I think I told there was a Los Angeles police recruiters there.